17 and we're actually streaming. Yay! Hope everybody is having a great day. We're getting a little bit of a late start here because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, that when you're out running any kind of errands these days, everything takes 5 times longer than you think. So that's just the way it is, and we got to get used to it for a while here. So apologies again for the late stream. We will be back this afternoon for our regular 4 to 6 stream. Fortunately, I don't have any errands to run before that. I do afterwards, but that's afterwards. And that doesn't affect you guys. So let's get our stuff situated here. Hopefully everybody is having a great day. It is beautiful out there. The weather is nice, so it was even though stuff did take a little longer, it was nice to be able to be out there in the beautiful weather here in Windy City, Chicago. All right, so let's go ahead and share out to our usual groups. Get this starty-parted. Give me 1 second here, and then we'll be off to the races. All right. Bear with me here, folks. We'll get this underway, and then hopefully everything is working well today and we don't have any camera lag. Looks like everything is somewhat normal. Maybe not the person that's doing the stream, but hey, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Give me just a second here, and we will get to building stuff. And sorry, this is a necessary evil, sharing out to these different groups, because for the most part, a number of them have informed us that they'd like to know when we're going to be streaming. And if you want us to stream to your group, by all means, let us know. Again, we're not trying to sell something here. We're giving away knowledge, and if nothing else, a little bit of distraction to take you away from general. So again, just want to make sure I don't share it to the wrong groups. People in the garage sale groups will be like, I'm not sure why we're getting this, but hey, let's check it out. All right. So, for those of you who have joined us before, we are working on a Mark IV Iron Man suit made out of foam. Real quick, after I get done with my shares here, I will review with you what we have done so far and what we're working on today. It's made out of EVA foam. That's the bulk of the construction. There will be some resin and some different disciplines in there that will be engaging. Sorry, I think everybody's on Facebook today, so it's going a little slow in terms of getting these shares out the door. Like I said, I'm waiting for the computer to catch up here so we don't share to a yard sale group. Now you know my deep dark secret. I like yard sales. It's where you find a bunch of stuff, man. You can repurpose into your builds. And you find a lot of junk. But mostly stuff. Like George Carlin said. Your stuff is Your junk is stuff and other people's stuff is junk. Anyways, as I was saying earlier, if you want us to share to your group, or if you want to know, obviously, when we're going live, feel free to, oh my gosh, our usual streaming schedule. And then, of course, you can also send me a message and just, if you don't want to follow the page, that's fine, but just send us a message. Say, hey, be sure to just, let us know when you're going on, and we'll do that too. All right, almost done here. Like I said, it seems like my group list keeps increasing on a weekly basis, so I'm going to need to start like a half hour earlier just to get my shares done. Okay, almost. Oh, can't forget those guys. Actually, I'm not forgetting anyone. It's just this Facebook is a little slow. My stream is good. My data rate looks good, so I know it's not us. It's just Facebook is being a little, there we go, a little slow. So, why do we do this? Because we like to share the knowledge that we have acquired over the years from various sources. We like to share knowledge. We like to trade knowledge. So if you have something that you want to share with us, there is a group attached to this page as well. It's called Phone Club. Just ask to be a member. We'll let you right in. Oh my gosh. This has never taken so long. Facebook, you're killing me. Speaking of, we are streaming to Twitch and YouTube at the same time that we're doing it here. So if you find that Facebook, for me right now, is a little doggy, then you can check us out on YouTube and Twitch as well. Alright, that's going to have to be enough now, because this is just, oh my god. It's like it keeps refreshing itself. Come on! Come on, Facebook! Get with it! Jumping out of my... It's specifically an Iron Man building group, so... Alright, well, I guess we'll get them on the afternoon share, if nothing else. Everybody can see me and hear me, right? We don't have a lot of lag. And we're going to be trying out a new transition today. I found a new transition that I thought was kind of cool. So you have to let me know what you think. I didn't put any sound with it yet. It's just visual. Alright, I'll try it out. Ready? So we're going to go to the tabletop using our new transition. Here we go. Ready? Actually, this is the one that we usually use. Okay? So you guys are used to that one. Alright? Here's the new one. Alright, give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Here we go. I think it's kind of cool. We'll put a little noise in there too. Alright, so, quick review. Where are we at now? Well, you can see over here on my table, one of my tables, we have a cornucopia of Mark IV parts. We've got our biceps. Okay. We've got our shins, which are the parts below your knees to your ankles. Got two of those. Kaboom. Alright. And we've got our thighs. Alright, there's our Mark IV thighs. We got two of those. Boom! Alright, there we go. And then we have our forearms. We've done these too. Alright? So, give you a look at those. So, you may be wondering what we're doing next. Well, we've actually already started on what's next. Yeah, I'll organize that later. That's what he always says. Alright, well, we've actually started on our boots. Alright, let's jump down. Saw those 2 builds behind you look fantastic. Thank you. Yes, that is my Mark 17 with the wrong helmet. And I always say that before somebody calls me out on it. Actually sold the helmet and the boots to another client of mine that we were doing a build for. I got appendicitis, couldn't complete the build, and it had to ship like right away. So I just shipped out my helmet and my gauntlets and my boots with the rest of the suit that we'd already built. And then of course we've got our Iron Man 2 War Machine back there, wearing the Batman cowboy hat, for those of you who were with us on that build. So, yes, thank you. Alright, so today, let me jump down to the table. We are going to be working on the boot. We got a little bit of casting to do. We've got a client that wants a set of gauntlets. And then we're going to be creating a mold, probably this afternoon stream. We're going to create a mold for this. And then, by request, we had somebody that wanted to know how to do texturing in foam. And so I swung by the Home Depot and got us a piece of metal, kind of a diamond, a little diamond texture. Because the texture that he was looking for was actually for like for a Captain America. Let me go back up here. So, for a Captain America suit, and this is as close as I could find for like a little diamond texture. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to implement that using a little bit of heat. So, thank you, Mr. Brown. I do appreciate that, and hopefully enough people find this useful and valuable that they'll sign up, subscribe, follow us, share it with your friends, and ultimately the objective is hopefully it's, like I said, it's value and use to you, and you can take something away from here to help you with your builds. Or you can join Phone Club, which is attached again to Laughing Dragon Foundries' page, and share some knowledge in there that we can all benefit from as well. So let's jump back down to our tabletop right there, and we're going to just get right busy on finishing up this boot. So we'll finish this one, and then we'll move on to the other one. Again, just a word to those of you who like to keep up with our streams and you know our schedule. Got a little disrupted this morning. No big deal. But we will be back this afternoon for our usual 4 to 6 stream. Unless something happens and I'm not able to. But so far, so good. Alright, let's break out the glue. Let's bring our Iron Man mascot into view here because he does like to oversee operations. We'll just put him right here off to the side. Awesome. Alright, got our fans going for good ventilation. We don't want to kill anybody here with fumes. I mean, you guys probably can't smell anything, but it can get a little potent here for me. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue up both sides of these. Actually, you know what? These are the other boots. I was going to say, I had a primer layer on everything, so these are the ones with the primer layer. And no primer layer at all here, so that's fine. And you can tell there's a primer layer on it because it's a little shiny from the glue, and even though it was a couple days ago, it's still a little sticky. Now it's not sticky enough to actually use it to, you know, glue something together, but with a primer layer, you go to stick this on the stick this together with something with a fresh layer of glue, it is immovable. You better make sure that it's lined up exactly the way you want the first time. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and prep these to glue our front and back sections together. And I build the front and back sections separately because, and I'll show you here, if you look down here, well, I guess you are looking at the table. I got two screens here. So if you build them separately, because if you build it just all as, one piece after the other, when you go to put it together, it might be off in one direction or the other. So if you build it, I want to make sure that you see this. Let me change my camera, and then I'll angle this down. All right, hopefully that's helpful. Not really. There we go. So again, the table helps you level your boot when you put it together, when you do your final assembly, if you build your front and your back components separately and then join them together. So that's why we do it this way. I used to just build everything. I build one full side and then the other side and put them together, and then sometimes you might get a twist, or it might be, the toe might be up a little bit. So this helps you with that alignment. And what you can do is you can go ahead and use the table to mark your alignment, like so. So you don't have to put it on the table. Alright, so I'll mark both sides like so. Right? And then when I go to glue it together, I just line those marks up and I know that the boot's level. There we go. Alright, back to our regular camera angles. So we got glue on this side, we need some on this side. And it's little tricks like that that you won't pick up on your own typically or think about until the first time you build a suit and you're like, oh shoot, that's twisted. How do I get that to level out? Well, now you know. So when you go to build your Mark IV, your boots will be automatically level. I talked a little bit too on our last stream about taking these pieces too. If you want a boot that's articulated, all right. Let me jump back up to the other camera here. If you want your boot to be articulated, so when you glue this together, it's going to be a rigid shoe cover that just kind of moves like that, and there's not much articulation, which means instead of walking, you're kind of clomping. Okay. So what you do is, instead of cutting this hole out here, leave that solid and put it behind this, put a hole through there and use a Chicago screw, and then now you can set this to pivot. Which, you'll believe me, the first time I did that, it was just like, oh my gosh, I can walk like a human again. So, and not clomp around. Although clomping is not bad either. I'm just saying, if you want to walk, and it's much more comfortable. I can actually run in my Iron Man suit. Not that I would recommend going jogging in an Iron Man suit, although now that I think about it, that would actually be kind of fun and funny. So if you do it, videotape it, articulate your boot, videotape it, and let us know. We want to see it. Right, back to the table. Okay, so as you know, I'm a fan of keeping things moving. So while these pieces are drying, let's go ahead and set up our other pieces for assembly. Don't be afraid to get into the conversation. If you guys got questions, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, why is that? Oh, it's because I just put glue on that. Alright, we're good. Alright, get all my pieces lined up here. Laid out so I know where they go. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to zip through here and give everything its first prime layer. Look at that, I've got two pieces that are exactly the same. You can't see them. Now you can. Exactly the same, which means I need to cut a fresh piece. They need to mirror each other. Happens. What are you going to do, right? It happens. Like Forrest Gump said, it happens. What happens? Stuff. goes there. Looks like I've got 2 of these pieces. Okay, so that's everything that needs to be glued together. I'm a little confused. These pieces, I'm not sure where these go. It's kind of funny because I know all the pieces that make up a boot. I think these are actually road pieces from something else. Says boot, but I know those are not boot pieces, so I'm just going to put those off to the side. Alrighty, we need our heat gun, which happens to be right here. And for all you Ryobi tool fans, there you go. We are using our Ryobi cordless heat gun. Always a bonus. Alright, so we're going to need to cut a mirrored piece of this. So actually, you know what, I'll take this. Can we get that out of here? Ooh, close. You know, actually, I think we might be able to. You know what, let's just grab a scrap piece of foam in case I actually need that for something. Alright, scrap foam. Got plenty of that, believe me. Alright, so since I need a mirror of this piece, I'm just going to flip it over like this. Okay. I do have the template for this, but I can just as easily flip this piece over and duplicate it in the opposite direction. Alright, so we need an indent there and a slight indent there. And we're golden. And that now becomes an extra piece. Alright, need my knife. Sorry, Tony. Hopefully that wasn't too painful for you. Tell you what, make this a little easier. I'm just going to cut this corner out. Rolando, yes, we are working on boots today, and this afternoon we will probably be working on the chest plate. The chest plate is always exciting because that's when you feel like things are really starting to come together. Even though we have in all the components, after we get these boots built, we will have over half of the suit built. But it's gratifying to get that chest plate built because it's like, yeah, it's starting to look like Iron Man's Mark IV coming together. Alrighty, so now comes the task of priming. Oh, not yet. Hold on. Need to separate this out. I always leave this attached so I don't lose it. But now that we're ready to glue it together, I can do that. And then we need to go ahead and cut our detail lines to make our panel lines in these pieces here. Are you going to do just like cover, or are you going to do like the all boot? Well, the boots are pretty much boot covers because the shin is separate from the boot, and in order to get ankle articulation, it's probably best to not attach the two. So the shin kind of floats over top of the boot. But as I was explaining earlier, if you want articulation, change cameras here. If you want articulation, then what you do is keep this solid here instead of cutting it out and gluing it here. leave that solid, put this behind that, put a screw through here, all right, and then cover it with a beauty plate here on the outside, and then now, you know, a Chicago screw or an architectural screw, whichever you're used to, and then you get the articulation at the ball of the front ball of your foot, so you can, you know, step like normal rather than just clomping around. So yes, they are, but they are separate. They are separate components, the shin and the boot. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and take my knife, go all the way around this, about 1/16 of an inch deep or less. Don't have to go very deep on these. And again, we're just cutting detail in here that we're going to hit with our heat gun and make some really cool, really symmetrical, consistent looking panel lines. I used to use a soldering iron, but believe me, once you go to this technique, you will never go back to a soldering iron. Tell you what, let's change the cameras, and I'll do it right in front. So a little bit of heat. See if I can turn this in such a way. Actually, I'll just stand up so you can see it open up. This heat gun puts out about 950 watts. If you have a heat gun that puts out more, then definitely keep it on the lower end of the scale so you don't scorch your foam. And then after a couple 3 passes with your heat gun, we now have panel lines. Okay, cool stuff. All right, let's do the other one. If you have a heat gun and some scrap foam, just if I were you, I would just get a knife, draw out some designs on the scrap foam, and practice with your heat gun. I did it that one was so bad. I drew mine the only way I was off the top of the shoe. Didn't I give it more space than I was with? So did you glue them to your shoes? You said it ripped off. It ripped. Oh, it ripped on the top of the shoe. Okay. It ripped. Okay. Yeah, and that's probably because it's not articulating. So right off the top of my head, I'm trying to picture the Batman versus Superman boot. You're talking about the Batman armor, I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, there's pretty much any boot that you build. I mean, there'll be a way to create articulation at the ball of your foot. So yeah, but when you step forward, and the other thing is too is to cut this. So there's a piece here that we're going to glue on top, and I'll show you what I mean after I attach this. You have to, in some cases, you have to make it custom to your size. All right, because if it's too small or if it's too big, that's usually not an issue, like in this case of a boot. But if it's too tight and it's too small and you don't have enough room, enough wiggle room, if you will, then you run the risk of exactly that, stressing the foam out and tearing your foam. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the top. All right. And I just attached it backwards. So let's turn it around and attach it the proper direction. I need some more glue on here now. Tell you what, let's do this first. Let's go ahead and attach this boot here, the front and back sections together, as we discussed earlier. So I'm going to line up those marks. that we made earlier to make sure that our boot is level. Okay, so there's the outside. Actually, it could be the inside too. These boots, there is no right and left. You could put a little curve in it if you want to match your right or left foot. But I've found that after you wear them for a few outings, the boots will kind of start to bend and conform to whichever foot you wear them on, as long as you wear them on the same foot. So, alright, so we made a solid boot here. Again, if I wanted this to articulate, I would have set it up with a hinge point here. But this suit's actually probably not going to be worn. It's probably just going to be used as a display piece. So we're not concerned about that. I misglued this to the wrong side, so I'm just going to hit this with a little more glue here on both of these sides. And this is where the sizing comes in. Of course, you want to initially build this boot to match the size of your shoe. All right. But this is the adjustable part that I wanted to show you. Okay, and I always leave this a bit long here because then when I'm done gluing this in here, depending on what size your foot is, you want to allow room so when you step forward, change. When your foot is in here and your ankle butts up against this, you want to allow enough room where when you move your leg forward, that it doesn't butt up against this and create undue stress on the piece, which is eventually going to lift it off, like what's probably happened with your Batman suit, Rolanda. So you want to make sure that you've got an extra degree of clearance here in the front when you create your openings in your shoes. It's not enough just to get your foot through there. You want to also allow enough play so when your ankle moves forward, especially if your boot's not articulated at the ball of the foot. Okay. And what I mean by articulated, let me show you on our volunteer here. There's a not only a pivot point at your ankle, but there's a pivot point up here on the front ball of your foot, here and here. So you've got to create room again, so when your leg leans forward, this doesn't actually. This you know what? Actually, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I actually have the Hot Toys Mark 17 here, which would be a better one to use to demonstrate what I'm talking about. All right. Lost his hand. Hold on. Okay, so all right, so you got your foot, you got your pivot point at your ankle, right? And then you've got a pivot point at the ball of your foot. So that's where you want to articulate your boot. And then I was telling you too about the shins. I used to glue this plate here on all of my shins. I used to attach it right to the shin, and then the first time that you put your suit on and you do this, whether you're articulating or not, it has a tendency to do an outward crush on this ankle plate. So now I've got a mounting system. When we get to the strapping part of this live stream and I strap together the Mark IV, I'll show you how I strap this so it floats, and anytime you do this, it'll move and float with the suit and then come back to where it's supposed to be when you're at rest. Okay? I'm Iron Man. Thanks for showing up. Okay, on we go. We'll put him over there. I do not play with dolls. I use action figures for reference. Alright, that is still a little wet, so while we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and prime our pieces here for the other boot. I know that was a lot of discussion on articulation, but hopefully it all makes sense now. It'll, and again, you do the articulation on your suit and you make that ankle plate float, that ankle covering. Your suit will just it's just little things like that that'll really preserve the look of your suit for years. I mean, I've got a Mark IV right now that I wear out to appearances. You know, not so much now with everything, you know, being in the state that it is, but that suit's like, it's over 3 years old. It's been through like half a dozen parades. And I'm not talking just, you know, a couple block parades. One of the parades I marched in was like a 2.5 mile parade in 90-degree weather. Anybody in Chicago knows the Bud Billiken parade? Yeah, that was the one. That was a lot of fun too. A lot of people screaming, Iron Man, Iron Man. Most recently, my wife and a friend of mine, Jim Ashbrook, who is our local Thor, we did the Macy's, was it Macy's? Thanksgiving Day Parade down in Chicago. We walked with Soul Harbor Ranch. They do the little therapy, the little miniature therapy horses. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. And that was a long one too, and that was cold. Nothing like Thanksgiving in Chicago. Yes, sirree. Alright, so we are just priming pieces. I've got another one here. I need to open some panel lines up, but let's go ahead and get all of our edges primed first. Elastic band for what? The boots? Yeah, some people glue their boots, their boot covers as it is, to a shoe. I make mine just so you can slip any shoe you want in and out of it, and then you can still use the shoe on a daily basis. But yeah, you could glue a shoe in. I use actually rubber bands, and I know we're going to glue the top of this, so I'm going to apply our prime coat to that. I use elastic to hold the shoes into the boot covers. So again, when we get to the strapping part of the live stream, which of course won't be today, that'll be like one of the final things that we do. Elastic bands for the boots on the pivot points. Yeah, see, so if the elastic is holding your boot to your shoe, again, which is what I do, or holding the shoe into the boot, as you move your foot on that pivot point, the boot will follow whatever you do with your foot. So yeah, you don't really have to put a snapback mechanism, which is my term, by the way. That's not the official term. I don't know if there's an official term. But some kind of a mechanism that'll bring it back to its original shape or position. You don't really need to do that because it's made to follow your foot. Hey, a fellow maker and Spear. Mr. Christopher Spear, how are you? Are we related? I just don't know. Tell me all about it. Alright, again, just to keep everybody aware of what we're doing here, we are priming our surfaces. Okay. Alright, so again, what we're doing here is we're priming our pieces, priming all the surfaces. So when we go back and apply our second coat of glue, it will stick together that much more securely and firmly. This piece here. Ah, so we got a Star Wars builder here. I've got a friend that wants me to build them a Mandalorian helmet. I don't suppose you know where to get some decent templates for that, do you? I haven't actually done any research, but if you know someplace, feel free to message me a link. I think they want me to build it out of foam, of course. We have a 3D printer that we could 3D print it, but foam is always going to be a little bit more wearable and cost effective. Alright, here we go. We're going to hit this piece here with some heat. Open those panel lines up on the toe of our boot. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Alright, so just like that, as you have seen me do time and again, we have some nice, clean panel lines with a little bit of heat. Alright, now I think this piece is ready to glue to the top of our boot, so let's go ahead and attach that. Top of our finished boot over here. Okay, so there's one side, and then we'll jump over here and attach the other side. All right. So, that is one completed Mark IV boot. Sans articulation, but again, we don't need articulation on this particular suit. There's the front end. I'll kick you in the head part. Alright, I'm going to make sure I've got a good sharp knife here, and I'm going to go ahead and trim this, round off this front opening for the shoe, or not for the shoe, for your foot. Apply a little bit of a curve to it because the front of your shin is actually cylindrical in shape. And of course, if your shin is squared in shape, then please exit the planet because Earth is closed until further notice. Alright, I know, I try to throw as many Iron Man quotes in there as I can. Earth is closed today. Alright, so again, boot. Ant. Boot. Ant. Boot. Let's build the other boot. Let's see how we're doing here. Yep, that'll definitely need another layer of glue, so let's just zip right through there and do that. Those of you who were with us Thursday night, you know we were having some camera issues. It seems that it's straightened itself out, so that's one less thing. Hello, Dan. Appreciate you joining us. All right. If you guys haven't yet, please throw us a subscribe on YouTube, Twitch, Laughing Dragon here on Facebook. Actually, we're Laughing Dragon Foundries everywhere. Keep up with us. We are streaming to multiple platforms at once. We're on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, so you can hit us up on whatever your platform of preference is. We do have some dedicated build videos that'll be coming out. With soon, specifically for the Mark IV. We'll be giving you some more in-depth training on that, making that available, along with, and I've had a number of people ask me for this, but we'll be making the my custom templates available as well. So we'll give you a heads up, of course, if you remember on the page or in the phone club group that's attached to Laughing Dragon. You'll know about it before everybody else. But this video series that we're putting together is, like I said, it's going to be very in-depth, and to the tune of about 12 or 15 videos that take you all the way from tool selection, foam prep, surface prep, tracing, cutting, little tips and tricks along the way for that, and then piece by piece assembly, strapping, final assembly, paint, electronics, everything to get you doing everything that Iron Man can do except fly. And hopefully in a future upgrade you'll be able to do that too. But stand by, we're working on levitation. It's not quite there yet. Actually, we need some glue on top of here too, don't we? Just remembered. And Rolando is one of the people that are most excited about our templates. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, by the end of the month. That's my hope. But again, keep in mind, and I try to remind people this from time to time, that this is not my full-time job. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, so everything else kind of comes first in most cases. But again, I'll keep you posted. Be patient. If you're a follower of the page, you will know as soon as they drop. And we've got some other tricks and treats and surprises up our sleeve for you guys too, that we're working on. And again, like I said, I can only go so fast, just this being a nights and weekend effort. But some of this stuff is in addition to the Mark IV training series, and we're going to be doing a training series for those two suits behind me as well, the Mark 17 and the War Machine. And again, I have custom templates that I've created and perfected over the past 6 years of building these suits. I mean, gosh, this is like my 36th Mark IV that I've built over the past 7 years. So yeah. That obviously I just answered that question. There will be different armors, but there's, like I said, there's going to be kind of an upgrade path that I don't want to talk about just yet. So just know that there's going to be something even more exciting coming as it relates to build options. Christopher, we are using. Oh gosh, I didn't glue this up here either. We are using weldwood. You can find it at any Home Depot if you're here in the States. I think Walmart has it too, weldwood. I get the larger can and then just fill my glue jar here. Which, by the way, I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. If you guys go to build your own glue pot, I mean, if you want to buy the one on Amazon for $70, feel free. Personally, I'd rather spend that money on foam. Be sure, let me show you something here real quick. When you glue your, so this is my glue pot, alright, it's a mason jar with a plastic lid. I bought the plastic lid option, and then I've got a wire coil that I put in there that I use to clean my brush off so I don't brush up the sides and gook up the threads of the jar. But make sure when you put your chip brush through the slot, use steel reinforced epoxy. The plumber's epoxy or whatever that you can get from Home Depot. Make sure it's steel reinforced. Any other epoxy, the fumes from the glue will eat through it and unglue your brush from the cap. True story. Alright, so you guys see the transition that I'm using when I switch screens? Alright, this one here. I want to get your feedback. So there's that one. I've got a new one I want to try out on you today. Let me know what you think. There's no sound with it, it's just graphic. Alright, here we go. Alright, timing's a little off, but what do you think of the graphics? Do you like it? Blowing stuff up? Blow something up? Yeah, we did that already. Yeah, another Iron Man quote. Let me know what you think. If you like it, we'll put some sound to it, make it part of the repertoire, and work on the timing so the transition actually happens at the right point. I want to do some dragon-related transitions too. Alright, we are really close to being ready to assemble this thing. In fact, I would dare say, judging from how... Oh, you know what? Need some glue on the bottom. Alright, so you guys like the let's blow stuff up transition? Cool. Alright, we'll go ahead and put some sound to it and make it part of our transitions going on. And it's, you know, it's little stuff like that. If you guys have ideas, you know, that we can implement to make it more fun and interesting and funny, let us know. You like the logo on the screen? Yeah, I do too. I call that the Laughing Dragon Foundry's gate. The gate transition. The slamming door. But blowing stuff up is cool too. Oh, alright. Steampunk Iron Man fusion recently that look gorgeous. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about, but if you want, can you put? I don't know if you can put a link in chat. See if you can throw a link in chat here so everybody can take a look. Or I'll throw it up on screen and we can look at it on screen. All right. Need a little more glue here. And then we're ready to start sticking things together. Stream. What time is it now? What time did I start? How long have I been streaming? Okay, just about an hour. So let's see. It's 2:11. Let's see. It's 2:11. So I've been doing it for about an hour. All right. I think we'll go for like another half hour. And then we'll break, and we'll come back for our 4 to 6 afternoon stream. I haven't even finished my coffee. Oh man, I do love my coffee. I bought a textured item today that we're going to use to demonstrate that technique. Hopefully he's around, and if not, I'll do it again this afternoon. It's no big deal. If he shows up for either stream. Before we go on our break. Alright, so let's make this happen. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my... So basically what we're going to do... Let me jump back to our screen here. Incoming! Yeah, that timing's off a little bit. Alright, anyway, we're going to build this in structures and then glue the major structures together. So, we're going... This is one structure, the toe and the wraparound tread. This is another structure here in front, okay? And then, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 structures that we are going to assemble individually and then put it all together to make this. And while we do that, I will wear the shoe as a hat. Never done this on my, put on my mask, you know, an Iron Man boot on my head, go out in public, feel like, what is wrong with that guy? Okay, so again, let's jump camera, and we are back down on the table. So we need our little wings here. I'm going to glue these together first. Again, this will be sub-assembly number 1. This is the nose and the wraparound tread portion of our boot. Grab this link real quick. Oh, he's got a lot of stuff. Okay, there we go. Steampunk Iron Man. Nice. Wow, there's a lot going on that, isn't there? There's a whole bunch of different ones. Nice. Actually, this here is the one that I'm looking at is based on the Mark III. Nice. David, we are using, let me grab the can. A lot of people have been asking that, so I will go ahead and grab the can and show you. So this is our glue, Weldwood Contact Cement by DAP. Home Depot, depending on where you get it, when you get it, 10, 12 bucks a can. And then I just fill my glue pot. If I have smaller detail work, which I don't very often, then I'll get this size of jar and I'll just refill these because these are actually kind of pricey. As far as time goes, that's going to kind of depend on the thickness of the glue as you apply it, as well as your humidity wherever you're at can be a factor, but I generally find that the glue is usually ready in about 5 or 10 minutes. And then you've got about a 30 to 40 minute window in which you can still stick things together and they'll actually hold. So yeah, I know some people use barge. I have not tried it, but they swear by it. But this stuff works just great as well. All right, moving on. So we're going to continue with our front sub-assembly. There's that side, and then this side, which will complete our nose and wraparound tread sub-assembly. Okay, so there's that. That goes on the front of our boot. We'll just set that aside over here. Next assembly will be the front of the boot. So here is our boot top indent. Sorry, this indents on the top of our boot, I should say. So it'll look like that. Alright, then we have these little panels here. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Okay, so that makes up the top of our boot. And then now we're going to go ahead and add these sides, to create, obviously, the sides. And then we'll put the nose on, which will complete this substructure. Okay. So I'm going to glue the front first. Always make sure that you align the outer edge of your seam first. Ah, we didn't put glue there. That won't stick without glue. So let's go ahead and get some glue on there. I forgot about the fronts. The front of these little extensions. Alright, so we'll set that aside, let it dry, and we will move on. Here's the top of our boot. Actually, top of the back part of our boot, which is its own separate substructure as well. Alright, so there we go. There's glue on the bottom of this, so I'm going to set that upside down. Alright, now we're going to build out the back of our boot. So we'll go with our major structure here first. the center. Here is the bottom. Actually, there's two bottom pieces to this that interact with each other. There's one. And then here is the other. There we go. All right. Now, to complete this boot back, we're going to attach this piece first. And it looks like I did get glue on both pieces, so that's good. A little bit of an offset here in the back. Okay, if you can see that. All the way around. Take your time when you're gluing this stuff together so you can keep those offsets consistent, because it's those little details that people, when they look at it, if you get a nice consistent offset like that, really just kind of makes the details pop. And if you mess up, don't fret. Cut another piece of foam, do it again. All right, I'm going to round this a little bit. All right, like so. So it looks like that. And now this piece goes here. And looks like I'm missing some glue there. All right. I thought I got all the edges, but we missed a couple. That's not bad. Could be worse. All right, so I'm just going to set this up again. Okay, and we have glue on this, but we have to wait for the other side to dry, so let's just go ahead and add a little more here too. Excuse me. Hopefully everybody is feeling good and staying healthy. Alright, so there's that. Now when this dries and we attach these pieces here, then what we're going to do is we're going to lay this on the front and trace where it lines up so we can glue it to the front of our boot here. Because basically we have all of our with the exception of this piece joining this piece here, we have our 4 substructures pretty much assembled, and then we'll just go ahead and put the major substructures together. Alright, so a little swig of coffee here. Now we're waiting for this to dry. I'm going to get some scrap foam that we can use to create our, for me to demonstrate using heat to create texture in your foam pieces. So give me 1 second while I grab a piece of scrap foam here. I'm going to share a picture with you guys real quick while we're waiting for this glue to dry. Something that somebody just shared with us. And this is pretty cool. I mean, this is... Hold on. All right. that is Steampunk Iron Man. Looks like it's loosely based off of a Mark III. And I'm not sure if this is just an artist's rendition or if it's an actual cosplay. But gosh, if that isn't just cool looking. I could definitely see doing something like that. I've never built a Mark III. That's one of the suits that I haven't built. So if I do, maybe that'll be the route we take. I know, right? And that's not the only one out there. I mean, just do a search for a Steampunk Iron Man. A lot of different examples, but that was the one that just caught my eye. I think they got like a Steampunk Hulkbuster too, which I thought was cool. I always wanted to do a Hulkbuster, but man, there's just only so much space I have to work with here. So maybe in the future. All right, here we go. So this is, I'm going to go ahead and add, I'm going to close the nose of this piece off here. Need to apply a little bit of pressure and compress this foam because it rounds, the nose rounds a little bit. Have I done the Mark 1? And no, the Mark 1, it's a cool looking suit, but it doesn't interest me. The Mark 2, I'm most definitely, that's kind of a Mark 3 with more of a rivet pattern on the edges. I do like the looks of that one. So that's, if I do a Mark 3, I'll probably do the Mark, or a Mark 3 style suit, I'll probably do the Mark 2. Alright, so I went ahead and attached that nose piece, and you can see it rounds it a little bit, just based on the shape and the way that it glues into the front of the boot. So that's actually kind of convenient. So everything doesn't have a squared look, and we didn't have to really do any heat to make it happen. No, I have not done the Mark 1 or Mark 2, but I have done a War Machine in a red and gold color configuration. If you look backwards through the photos on Laughing Dragon's page, you'll see that. I really like that color layout. Okay, so, oh, we still need to attach this. Let's do that. Alright, so I'm going to attach it on this side, and then we will jump over to this side. And make sure we get good indents all the way down. In order to make this match, I'm going to have to do a little stretch and compress. Okay, there's that side. Okay, so there we go. There's the back structure of our boot. Now what's left is to put the whole thing together. On the front, this piece sits right here, and then the tread wraps around the sides toward the back like that. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where I want it in the front first. I did see that. Yes, that is an awesome suit. And then he made it fly later with the arm jets. And you know, it's funny that you bring that up. We have no official announcement, but I'm going to unofficially tell you that we are working on concepting right now. Something that will make a dream come true for me specifically, and to answer a lot of questions that I get when it comes to Iron Man suits. But that's all I'm going to say right now. I'm going to keep you in suspense, keep you coming back. But we're working on planning, concepting someone. And some people would say that I'm probably a little crazy. So I'll let you do the math. All right. So now that I've marked where on the outside the piece lives, now I'm going to go ahead and mark the inside as well, because we need to glue it obviously on the inside as well as on the outside. So I'm just going to run some lines along here. Again, I'm very liberal with placement of my glue, so it doesn't have to be exact. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and get some glue on these surfaces. Crazier than those building the full-size replicas. Oh, no, it might be a little crazier than that. Yeah, it might be just a little crazier than that. At least that's what I've been told. But that is cool. I mean, if you got the space for it, why not, right? Why not? Life is short. If you want to do something like that, do it. Now, this is something I've been dreaming and thinking about for a long time. So, like I said, more on that later. So if you want to know what it is, stick around. Keep showing up. Believe me, if I had something more concrete to present, I would tell you today. But on that note, we do have a lot of cool stuff that we are going to be doing here over the next few weeks, days, weeks, and months. New stuff that we're building, new designs. Not all of them are Iron Man related. If you've already answered it, how much time do you need to construct this stuff, given that you've got a lot of experience? Okay, so good question, Gary. While we're waiting for glue to dry, I'm going to jump cameras in real quick, because I feel like I'm confined in this little box. So we actually, and again, if you look at the Laughing Dragon Foundries page, a friend of mine and I did a speed build, and we sped it up, we time-lapsed it, but we, from front to finish, trace, cut, glue, right up to, right up to paint and install the electronics. We were able to do it in 4 days. Now that's 8-10 hours a day. So I've told people in the past, including paint and electronics, we could easily build paint and wire one up for the electronics within a week. 2 weeks at the least. But we don't have enough time in my part-time. This is not my full-time gig. So, it's kind of like you get started on something, and then after the interruptions, and I'm not talking to you guys, but just in general, or like the creatives usually do. It's like, oh, squirrel, I'm working on this, and then suddenly I jump over and start working on something else, and so then it takes, like they say, things take 10 times longer than you ever expect or plan. But if somebody, if I needed a suit in a week, I could build pretty much any one of these suits that I've got here that I'm familiar with, obviously, in that amount of time. If I'm not familiar with a design and it's something new, like if I was embarking on, somebody asked me about the Mark 1 or the Mark 2 earlier, I have designs and plans to build myself a Mark 85 complete with the lightning array, the starred lightning array in the back, as an additional clip-on item. That would probably take me a couple of weeks because I'm not familiar with the templates, or the process of assembly, but once I do it once, I'll be like, all right, we got this. And of course, as some of you know, and some of you obviously don't, my templates, I'll start with templates that I find, or in some cases I'll make. Like for example, the biceps on the Mark 17 there, I was not able to find a decent template for that, so I literally made my own template based on sketches I took from this guy. Any of you familiar with the Hot Toys action figure? Hey, what's up? But then I also go through a process of consolidation when it comes to my templates. This is an example. We'll be working on this afternoon. This is the chest plate for the Mark IV. Ordinarily, I always struggle with the number of pieces that it originally took, but I think it was 11 pieces that was required to assemble this, 11 separate pieces of foam. As you can see, I've got the major structure down to one piece of foam with some strategic cuts. So, yeah, and those are the templates that we've mentioned to individuals here that we will be soon releasing to the public. Because the fewer templates that you use, the fewer pieces of foam that you use, the more efficient and better looking your piece winds up being. Case in point, this is the bicep, and of course it's already assembled, but this major body structure all the way around, again, was about, if I remember correctly, was at least a half a dozen individual pieces. I've got it down to one piece, and then just the extra pieces glued in. So that is always my mission, is to try and make things as efficient as possible, which of course only makes it go faster. So hopefully that was a long answer to a short question. All right, this appears to be needing another layer of glue, so let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll assemble the other components, and then we'll put the nose on. Actually, we need to put the nose on first, because then we use this boot to line, we use the two pieces to line up how they go together in order to come out with a level boot on the other side. So I'll just apply more glue. We'll wait a couple more minutes here. This foam here is a Harbor Freight foam. I know you asked before, I don't have any problems with gluing the part without sanding. No problems at all. I was just going to tell you that this glue here, or this piece, is a Harbor Freight piece of foam, so there's a texture on the inside. So I make sure that I get the glue in there really well. Yeah, I mean, sanding it or taking a Dremel tool to it won't hurt when it comes to setting that surface up for success. So if you've got a rotary tool, and you can just put a sanding drum on there and just kind of go in there and give it a little bit of a tooth, that wouldn't hurt. But I've been gluing these together this way for years, and again, I'll just demonstrate here. This is the boot that we did earlier, and again, you can see it's not coming apart despite the texture on the inside. Now, I do take a bead of hot glue along the seams on the inside as well, and back it up just for a little bit of strength in key places. So, again, couldn't hurt, but not necessary. Alright, so as soon as that's dry, we'll put this on here, we'll connect this to this, put this on top, and that will finish that boot. Now, let's talk a little bit while we're waiting about texturizing your foam. For those of you who watched me build the Batman, the Wild West Batman cowboy hat for Mr. Nick Kranick, who is a member of Foam Club. If you head out to Foam Club actually and join the group, you'll see his Wild West Batman build that we created the hat for him for, and you can see I have an example back there on my Mark Iron Man 2 War Machine. You can create a leather texture using aluminum foil and a hot iron. I don't have aluminum foil right now, so we'll pull that trick out and show you in this afternoon's stream. But in the meantime, I went to Home Depot today and I got some gutter guard, which has kind of a diamond texture to it. Someone had asked about creating a texture or creating a pattern in foam, and what an easy way it was to do that. It just requires heat, is really what it comes down to. So, and actually, there's other techniques that you can use as well. But let me grab my gloves and we'll go through this technique first. And I say gloves, but I can only find one glove, so it looks like I'll be using one glove, unless I've got other gloves in a drawer here. Okay, well, one is better than none, so we'll go with one for now. I do have a heat glove somewhere that would be useful, but alright, anyway, let me jump cameras again. So, here's our test foam. Now the first thing that you could do, if you want to create any kind of a pattern or texture, is, as we've demonstrated before, is use heat and cut your texture into the foam. So in that case, I would grab my ruler here, and let's say I want to create this diamond texture using my ruler. So I would just draw some reference lines. Okay, a bit tedious, but effective. Okay. I'm not going to do the entire piece, but I'll do enough to show you the outcome. Okay, so then after you get your lines drawn, take your knife and just cut those lines in there. I'm actually going to add another one in between these two, so we've got some symmetry. Now this takes a steady hand and a steady eye. And if I was smart, I would cut this line first and then work away from myself so I can predict the distance in between. Okay, so we've cut a little diamond texture there that will hit now with the heat gun. And after a little bit of heat, you can see that we get our diamond texture. Okay, you can do that with an octagonal shape, you can do it with a hex shape. You can take a paper, let me jump cameras here. You can take a paper pattern, in a shape and lay it down and trace it, get it to, the way that you want it everywhere. Kind of like the I think it's the Star Boost, the white and gold Iron Man suit. I think it's called the Star Boost. Anyway, that's got like a hexagon pattern all over in the darker parts of the suit that are really cool. A lot of people will do that, use this technique to create those patterns. Now, another thing that you can do is use something that has a pattern already in it, like this wire mesh. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to heat the foam up. Not on the table because I don't want to bubble up my... So you can either heat the foam or you can heat the part that you're going to create the texture with. Now what you might want to do is put your foam like on a pan and heat it in the oven. Check with your wife or your mother or whoever first, with your significant other. Okay, and then we just lay this in the foam and basically stand on it. Okay, and then when we take our foam off, or our wire off, you can see we have the start of a little bit of texture there. Okay, it's nothing too dramatic, but another thing that you could try is literally using an iron, which is what we use to create our leather texture. Make sure your steam setting is turned off. Let that baby heat up. Isn't that a nice shiny iron? Hey, check it out. I'm Iron Man. Get it? All right, that was bad. I admit that was really bad. Now, what I would do if you're going to use an iron, I would probably go ahead and use like a piece of parchment paper, so you don't scratch up the bottom of your iron if you're using like a metal textured piece like this. Piece of parchment paper, they bake things with it, and it gets very, 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 very hot, so you don't have to worry about it like catching fire. And then that'll protect the surface of your iron while you lay this on the metal to heat the metal up to push it into, again, to push it into your foam. And I have a piece of parchment paper upstairs. I think I'll run up and grab that real quick. Be right back. Okay. Alright, so we got our parchment paper. Alright, let's go ahead and jump cameras real quick, because we're ready to go ahead and glue our boot together. Make that final. So there's that. Okay, and now, if you remember before, if you were here earlier, and if you're not, that's okay. We're going to set the boot on the table and line up where these pieces go. So we've got good alignment. We'll just draw some marks on the side there on both sides. And again, this is just for alignment. So when we put them together, I know if we line those marks up, that the boot will be level when you go to put it on your shoe. There's one. Yep, there's one side. I'll open the foam up a little bit so we can get good alignment, and then just let it fall right back down where it's supposed to go. And there we go. So there's the front, now glued to the back. And then last but not least, we'll put some glue on the top to glue the top in place as well. Alright, let that dry. And now our iron should be pretty heated up. So let's go ahead and put that down there. Got our parchment paper here so we don't scratch up our iron. And you don't want to move the iron back and forth. If you need to heat up separate places, then just pick your iron up and move it. Basically, we are just going to oh, you know what? Yeah, we should be alright. I think it's just a little bit of residue coming in from the iron. Alright, so I'm going to apply heat and pressure. I've got the steam turned off, but there's a little bit of steam coming out. And then without moving our metal piece or the foam, I'm just going to pick this up and move it to a different location. Keep applying that heat and pressure. And as you can see, we're using wax paper. I didn't have parchment paper. Pretty much the same thing. We are not scarring up the bottom of the iron. And because it's wax paper, we're not catching the paper on fire, which is a major bonus. So now if you need to pull your metal piece off to check and see if the texture is to your liking, you can do that, but just remember that the moment you pull this up, if you want to put it back in, you're going to have to be very careful to get it lined up properly. Okay, so let's see what we got. Alright, well, some places it came out a little bit more pronounced than others, but I think you'll agree that's not a bad little texture. So, like I said, heat and pressure. And fortunately, using heat in this manner, you don't really have to worry about scorching the foam, because it's kind of it's a transmitted heat, so it's not a direct heat. So again, the texture, you know, once you paint that would look good. I mean, it looks good now, but it would look even better once you got it into your cosplay, and then went ahead and hit it with some paint. If you need deeper texture, then maybe what you could do is go ahead and then now take your knife and follow these lines, and then hit it with a heat gun. Just, you know, and maybe use a ruler just to make sure that you get your lines nice and straight, and then you could make that a bit more pronounced. It's just one idea. Okay. And let me show you on this camera. I don't know if it's any better or not. There we go. Does that look okay? Yeah? What do you guys think? Is that a good technique? I think so. Alright. Well, that brings us to the end of this stream. So I'm going to go ahead and depart for a little while, take a break. I think what we'll do is we'll kick this afternoon's stream to, instead of doing 2-hour streams, we'll do just an hour and a half. So 4:30 will be our next stream starting time. Like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, take part in the discussion. And as always, keep your heat gun or your glue hot and your hopes high. Everybody stay healthy, be safe, and we will see you this afternoon.